I'd return to Man United with Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge. We know each other well. Former Manchester United coach Rene Meulensteen has spoken about his relationship with Ruud van Nistelrooy amid growing pressure on Erik Ten Hag. Hello Man United fans, welcome to Manchester United Daily Updates. A disappointing start to the season has led Erik Ten Hag to come under increasing pressure at Old Trafford. The club produced a dismal display in their 3-0 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur last weekend, and a stoppage-time Harry Maguire equaliser only partly spared United's blushes against Porto after letting a 2-goal lead slip on Thursday night. The tough fixtures continue to come thick and fast for United, who travel to Aston Villa on Sunday. In the aftermath of the Spurs' defeat, it was suggested that Ten Hag would be given the games against Porto and Villa to save his job ahead of the upcoming international break. The United boss was rewarded with a one-year contract extension in the summer after winning the FA Cup, but the uncertainty around his job has remained. The appointment of United hero Van Nistelrooy as his assistant only added to the scrutiny, and Meulensteen, who spent 6 years on Sir Alex Ferguson's coaching staff, would welcome the chance to reunite with the former striker in the Old Trafford dugout. Ruud and I know each other really well because I worked with him and always stayed in touch, Meulensteen told Sam Allardyce's No Tippy Tappy football podcast. I rate him highly. I think he jumped the ship at PSV a little bit too soon. He was doing really well. I always feel if I jump into a job, I want to make sure that I'd be able to make a difference, not to make up the numbers. I also have to make sure not to kick myself, because if I go back into Manchester United, I would walk back into something I probably wouldn't recognise. In those 6 years that I was the first team coach at Manchester United, Meulensteen added, I loved every minute of it. I didn't feel any negative pressure any day when I was driving up to Carrington, and that was totally down to the man management of Sir Alex Ferguson and how much he trusted us with what we were doing. If Ruud would come calling, you would help him, of course you would. You would talk to him and say, okay, what can I do for you? Van Nistelrooy won the 2023 KNVB Cup as PSV Eindhoven boss before stepping down as manager and later joining United. Erik Ten Hag is in trouble as his fate looks likely to be settled on Sunday at Villa Park, and now talk of his successor is heating up. Manchester United are in an awful spell of form, with just one win in the last 5 games. It is this run and the uninspiring performances which have left Ineos considering their managerial options once again. After the 3-0 thrashing at the hands of Tottenham, it was reported that Erik Ten Hag was on thin ice and the next 2 games were set to be deciding. Well, we are now 1 game into this 2-game judgment week, and United drawing 3-3 with Porto will not have eased the pressure on the Dutchman. This therefore means a bad outing and defeat against Aston Villa on Sunday could seal Ten Hag's fate. In anticipation of this, it has been reported United are prepared to open talks with a potential successor. Thomas Tuchel could replace Erik Ten Hag. Ahead of the fateful day at Villa Park, rumours are already intensifying over who United could possibly be eyeing up to be Ten Hag's successor. Now, it has been reported by a paper that Thomas Tuchel is the man that United are now prepared to open talks with, in the event Ten Hag is sacked. Tuchel was considered in the summer, however. Talks ultimately broke down over the German manager's financial demands and also disagreements over how much power he would have. The former Chelsea and Bayern Munich boss has supporters within the United hierarchy, while Tuchel is also considered a world-leading coach. Marco Silva is another name to be considered this week, although between the two Tuchel is a far better option. Manchester United will be encouraged by Tuchel's Old Trafford record. Whoever is chosen to be the United manager going forward, may that be Ten Hag or someone else, a strong record at Old Trafford will be required. Ten Hag has lost 2 of the 3 home Premier League games he has had this season so far, but if Tuchel is appointed, there is evidence to suggest he will be a lot more successful at home. Tuchel has visited Old Trafford on 4 occasions with PSG, Chelsea and Bayern Munich. In these games, he remains unbeaten. Erik Ten Hag's days as Manchester United boss appear numbered, and one of his favourite players will have to shoulder some of the blame for his inevitable sacking. The Red Devils slumped to another disappointing result on Thursday when they only managed a 3-3 draw with Porto. While 10-man Man United's spirit to earn a point was commendable, it should never have come to that stage after storming into a comfortable 2-0 lead. After back-to-back draws with Crystal Palace and Twente Enschede and a dismal 3-0 loss to Tottenham, this latest result appears to have made Erik Ten Hag's sacking inevitable. There is still the chance for redemption against Aston Villa, and some have played down suggestions that he could be axed next week, but the game in Portugal illustrated that his team has not progressed, and, if anything, regressed, since his promising debut season in 2022-23, De Ligt getting Ten Hag sacked. At this stage, it looks like Ten Hag could end up getting sacked because of one of his favourite players, Matthijs de Ligt. The Dutchman has had a tough time of it lately, and he was again at fault against Porto. De Ligt endured a dire international break in September but appeared to have overcome the worst when he put in a solid performance against Southampton. However, he again came under heavy fire against Spurs and now even more so after Porto. Described by Jamie Carragher as being out of position all the time at the weekend, a similar issue was again apparent on Thursday when 20-year-old striker Samo Omarodian caused him nightmares. The youngster outsmarted, outmuscled and outmaneuvered the former Juventus and Bayern player for 2 of Porto's 3 goals, and De Ligt, along with centre-back partner Lisandro Martinez, was hooked by Ten Hag after 78 minutes to be replaced by Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire. The latter, ironically, ended up securing a point for Man United by heading home a late equaliser. De Ligt getting Ten Hag sacked would be a fitting and symbolic end to the farce of the past 14 months. There is no excuse for Ten Hag anymore. This is his team, these are his players, some of them, like De Ligt, he quite literally nurtured and made the athletes there today, and the fact that he can barely get a tune out of them is a massive indictment of him on every conceivable level. Handing Ten Hag a contract extension after the previous season was a mistake, and an expensive one at that. After spending €660 million on new players under the Dutchman,